What is the most controversial thing you own? My family owns a petrified walrus penis. My grandmother took it to get it identified at the Smithsonian several decades ago. Apparently her grandfather, or maybe it was her great-grandfather, brought it home after he spent several years on some type of expedition up around northern Alaska and points north. It has been loaned out to several museums at different times. The family has talked about selling it, but everyone has to agree, and so far there is no agreement about selling it. So I own 1/67th of a petrified walrus penis. Connie 2012 kit. It's a whole thing and I don't want to talk about it. An uncut DVD of Caligula. I'm not sure if it is still banned or not. My great-grandpa was a medic in WW2, and we own a little chest with his personal belongings, including his diary, some old bandages, and 3 vials of 1940s morphine. I have a few ivory jewelry pieces from the early 70s my parents brought back from Botswana, and a poison arrow kit. Mum has the 3-meter long python skin she just put in her luggage from back then too. mortuary toe tags from an asylum in New York. Like 20 or so of them. I think they could be the only things left showing that these people actually lived. A first print edition of Batman Damned #1. The one featuring Batman's Little Batman. From DC Black Label, featuring more adult content. Violence and swearing are totally fine. But a shadowy penis profile made people flip out enough they removed it from subsequent print runs. You guys are some creative fucking people with your bat penis puns. Love it. I have a glass vial / small bottle of pure histamine. If anyone would be exposed to this, they would get a deadly allergic reaction. I have it double sealed. I have my grandfather's Hitler Youth knife. He was 12 when the war ended, but he spent the last year or so of the war on a U-boat basically as an assistant. When I was 18, I bought a print of a 1918 German zoo advertisement from a thrift store. I thought the artwork was neat. It had a leopard on it, and I was completely cat obsessed at the time. Turns out the artwork was by Ludwig Holbein. He would go on to produce Nazi propaganda. My 26. 5-inch scale 8-string guitar is apparently super controversial to every guitarist I've ever shown it to. Not me. My parents growing up. They had an actual elephant foot turned into a table. Like an actual foot cut from an elephant and taxidermied made into an end table. Had a glass tabletop. You could feel the thin hairs on it. Fucking haunted my dreams, man. A packaged stick from Afghanistan that claims to cure all known illnesses, including cancer. If you rub it on you, I traded an energy drink for it. I think it's pretty controversial, since I now own the cure for all ailments. 5 grams of uranium metal. Stored under oil in a glass vial. 9-angle grinder from Harbor Freight. A ceramic jar with cocaine written on it. My father is a contractor, and he got it from a client who was descended from a fairly famous US president. It was headed for the trash. My father didn't steal it. Of course. As a joke, I told my mom I wanted my dog's testicles in a jar after we had him neutered. She took it seriously, and now I have had my dog's balls in a jar for almost a decade. When my sister was in high school, she wrote letters to Charles Manson. He wrote her back. My dad intercepted the letters in the mail. He never opened them, but still has them. My sister never knew he wrote back. Edit to answer some questions. I can't believe I woke up this morning to this explosion. My sister is 7 years older. Mental health was left generally undiagnosed and untreated in the 80s. She was a rough kid to parent. And even as a sibling, there's a lot of trauma stemming from her I've had to work through. I haven't spoken to her since I was in my 20s. She's estranged from my dad, my other sister, and I. She has worked her way back into my mom's life as she's gotten older, more than likely to benefit from her death. I do remember her being obsessed with Manson when I was a kid. She was a fucking menace. Constantly getting into some sort of trouble, running away, police calls, etc. As soon as she turned 18, she was kicked out. She turned 50 last month. And according to my mom, she finally has her life together. She bought her first house. My dad told me about the letters approximately a year ago. This happened 30 years ago. I'm pretty sure there wouldn't be any federal charges brought against him, haha. And he has no reason to make this up or lie about it. I told him I want them left to me in his will. To the people messaging me to buy the letters, big fat fucking no. If and when I get them in my possession, I'll evaluate what I want to do with them at this time. I agree they're worth more sealed than opened. An original copy of Mao's Red Book from when they were distributed in China back in the 60s. Also a copy of Mein Kampf, but I'm not sure about this copy's backstory. A piece of irradiation bore drill encased in resin. It has a cloud floating above it in the resin, where the focal point is. It's safe now. Bizarre to think about. And probably illegal as fuck for a civilian to acquire today.